It's a vast pottery army which is slowly being unearthed from the tomb where it's lain for more than 2,000 years.
The Terracotta warriors was found accidentally.
Beneath a quiet hill in central China lies one of history's greatest enigmas, an army not made of flesh and blood, but of clay and mystery. Imagine a vast underground world stretching across nearly the size of Manhattan, filled with thousands of lifelike warriors, each guarding secrets hidden for over 2 millennia. What if I told you that recent explorations have uncovered chilling truths far beyond what these majestic statues reveal on the surface? Yu-Min Lin, a National Geographic explorer, was granted extraordinary access to this forbidden place.
This is the Terracotta Army. 8,000 warriors buried over 2,000 years ago. One of the greatest wonders of the world.
Revealing layers of history that few have ever witnessed. But as we dig deeper, the story takes a darker turn. Betrayals, executions, and a power so absolute it shaped an empire's legacy forever. Are we ready to see what truly lies beneath the Terracotta Army? The hidden depths revealed. Lin's journey into the heart of the Terracotta Army site wasn't like a typical archaeological tour. He was granted rare access to a place carefully shielded from the public and even many experts. Standing within these ancient walls, Lin was immersed in a silence that seemed alive. A quiet space, holding centuries of untold stories. The atmosphere was almost unreal, as if the countless hands that shaped this underground world were still present, whispering through clay, stone, and earth. The terracotta warriors themselves, thought to symbolize the first emperor's eternal army, appeared frozen not just in posture but in time. Each figure, with its distinct facial features and armor, seemed more than just statues. They felt like echoes of real soldiers who once marched across China. Yet despite this lifelike presence, Lin discovered hints that an even deeper story was waiting to be uncovered beneath their feet, one that challenged everything commonly believed about the site. This wasn't merely a collection of art or an elaborate tomb. It was a realm sealed off from history's usual touch, preserved in ways both incredible and mysterious. Lin's exploration revealed that what lay underground was vast and layered with secrets beyond the surface warriors. While many visitors see only the visible warriors arranged in ranks, Lin's rare vantage exposed the limits of public knowledge and the guarded nature of the tomb's core. What lies beneath the terracotta ranks has been kept from view, protected by the local authorities and surrounded by military caution. The area is one of China's most tightly controlled archaeological sites, with modern soldiers standing watch where a powerful emperor once ordered his own afterlife prepared. This tension between ancient reverence and modern security speaks volumes about the importance and risk of unveiling what remains buried. Even with advanced technology, the challenges to exploring below ground are immense. Scientific instruments can map the pits and chambers, but the mysteries these scans reveal are only the beginning of a complex puzzle. The layers of earth, the fragile materials, and the presence of chemical elements make any disturbance potentially catastrophic for what remains intact. Lin's exploration hinted at a layered narrative, waiting patiently beneath the soil to reveal its truth, but only if approached with care. It was here, in the shadows of this forbidden complex, that Lin sensed a story too vast and too haunting to disclose outright. His findings teased something far more unsettling than an ancient army preserved in clay. Yet, with so much still beneath the surface, the full scope of the hidden truths remained just out of reach, lurking in silence, waiting to be uncovered. Traversing this hidden territory was not just about witnessing artifacts. but stepping into the unknown. Lin was among the few explorers who have physically stood where history had rested untouched for over 2,000 years. His reflections reveal a profound respect for the space, as sacred as it is mysterious, and acknowledge that what remains concealed might alter long-held views of China's first emperor. Moving from the silence beneath the warriors, the scale and design of the emperor's tomb begin to expose the ambition and power that shaped this monumental site. The scale of the empire's tomb. The Terracotta Army is part of an immense burial complex, one of the largest in the world, stretching across roughly 22 square miles. Imagine a tomb as large as Manhattan, sprawling under the hills around the ancient city. This vast complex houses hundreds of pits and vaults, each potentially holding new clues about the first emperor's reign and his vision for immortality. Such sheer size demonstrates an ambition that far exceeds ordinary royal burial practices. Within this labyrinth, archaeologists have uncovered more than 600 pits and vaults, ranging from soldiers to bronze weapons, chariots, and delicate jade artifacts. The craftsmanship of each terracotta figure is striking, with unique facial features and precise details that suggest individual stories and identities. This wasn't mass production. It was a deeply personal tribute, created to serve the emperor in the afterlife. The largest pits alone contain thousands of soldiers arrayed in battle formation, a silent but formidable force guarding the emperor's resting place. These figures stand at attention, wearing armor that reflects the military innovations of their time. Their very existence implies a belief that the emperor would continue to reign and protect his kingdom beyond death. But beyond the warriors lies an even more astonishing discovery: the emperor's actual burial mound, hidden beneath a massive earthen hill. This mound is surrounded by the outer pits and is believed to be the centerpiece of the entire complex. Inside, recent excavations have revealed a massive coffin weighing 16 tons, filled with treasures such as ancient weapons, precious jade, gold and silver artifacts, cooking utensils, and even thousands of bronze coins. Every object bears testimony to the emperor's conviction that death was only another realm to be ruled. The massive size of the tomb was revealed when Albert Lin's aerial drone footage gave a new viewpoint and view from above, which was never allowed before. The valleys of the drone not only displayed the vast extent of the artificial landscape, but also suggested that there were still hidden chambers and vaults underneath the ground that had not been discovered. The drone's view of the tomb opened up a world that was thought to be entirely explored, but was, in reality, still filled with mystery. The size of the complex indicates that there were no limits to the power and ambition, but also the labor and sacrifice were enormous. It raises important questions of how many people worked there and how much they were paid. Such questions naturally lead to digging deeper into the historical background of the area, where evidence of a more troubling nature has been found regarding the lives and deaths of the people who built the eternal guard of this empire. These truths, which make the magnificence darker, remind us that an uncomfortable legacy is always behind the pride and the artist's hands. It is not only a story of genius and an adventurous spirit, but one that is, too, marked by fear, suffering, and oppression of a terrifying magnitude. And it is this darker side that is revealed by the soil that surrounds the tomb itself. As awe for the tomb's size settles, the earth beneath begins to speak of stories much less visible, where brutality and silence intertwine. Secrets buried beneath the soil. Recent excavations near the Terracotta Army have uncovered mass graves surrounding the vast burial mound, revealing grim stories buried for centuries.
No ancient text said anything about its underground army. And nothing like the terracotta warriors had ever been found, leaving archaeologists and an awestruck world to wonder.
These graves hold the remains of workers who built the emperor's tomb, men who seemingly did not perish from natural causes. Forensic analysis shows evidence of violent deaths, decapitations and injuries consistent with execution-style slaying. Experts suggest these workers were deliberately slain once their labor was complete, a brutal measure to prevent any possibility of secrets leaking out. Their bodies were discarded in unmarked pits, hastily buried and forgotten, casting a shadow over the triumph of the tomb's construction. This harsh reality challenges the popular image of the memorial as a purely glorious monument. The discovery of these mass graves forces us to reconsider the cost of the emperor's quest for immortality. The workers, who gave their lives to assemble this grand resting place, were sacrificed themselves in a final act of ruthless control. The very ground beneath the Terracotta Army holds a story written in blood and fear, contrasting starkly with the calm faces of the clay warriors above. Adding to this chilling narrative is the excavation of a male skeleton near the emperor's central tomb, with a bronze arrowhead lodged deep in his skull. Archaeologists speculate this man could have been one of the emperor's own sons, a striking piece of evidence supporting historical records of violent succession struggles. Several heirs disappeared mysteriously during the emperor's reign, and this finding hints at betrayal within the royal family itself. This single death speaks volumes about the brutal lengths the emperor went to secure his power. It suggests a reign marked not only by unification and construction, but also by paranoia and lethal family betrayals. History often teaches us that behind great empires lie stories of sacrifice and cruelty, and this skeleton appears to be one such raw reminder. Beneath the tomb, ancient bamboo scrolls were also found, remarkably preserved, revealing even darker secrets. These scrolls read like the emperor's own confession of tyranny, describing bloody purges carried out against scholars and intellectuals who dared to question his rule. Some 460 Confucian scholars were reportedly buried alive, and countless writings were burned to silence dissent. The suppression of knowledge was as brutal as it was systematic, targeting those who promoted morality, wisdom, and virtue, ideals that clashed with the emperor's harsh and legalistic methods. The destruction of centuries of Chinese literature and history wasn't random, but a calculated effort to control and reshape society's beliefs. From these dark soil secrets, the story leads naturally to the depths of familial betrayal and political intrigue that surrounded the emperor's final days. Betrayal within the royal family. Beneath the grandeur and spectacle of the Terracotta Army lies a darker tale of betrayal and bloodshed within China's earliest imperial dynasty. Near the emperor's central tomb, archaeologists uncovered a male skeleton with a bronze arrowhead embedded deep in his skull, a silent testimony to a violent death. This grim find has led experts to speculate that the man may have been one of the emperor's own sons, tying into historical accounts of heirs who mysteriously vanished during the reign. Such a discovery paints a picture of ruthless power struggles lurking behind the empire's majestic facade. The possibility that Emperor Qin Shi Huang ordered the execution of his own child is chilling, but not unprecedented in royal histories. Succession disputes were often deadly affairs where loyalty was tested by fear and ambition. The brutal reality revealed by this skeleton fits the broader narrative of an emperor who wielded absolute power, willing to eliminate even family members who threatened his rule. This personal violence adds an unsettling human dimension to the story of the empire's creation. Historical records mention several heirs who disappeared without explanation, and this bone-chilling discovery may be the first physical evidence to confirm long-standing suspicions. The disappearance of princes and ruthless suppression of rivals reveal a reign where purity of power mattered more than blood ties. It brings to light an imperial family torn by internal conflict, where trust was scarce, and silence often meant survival or death. This revelation forces us to reconsider Qin Shi Huang's legacy, not just as a unifier of China, but as a man consumed by the fear of losing control. Beyond building walls and armies, his reign was marked by cruelty that extended into his closest relationships. The image of a sovereign haunted by paranoia adds layers of tragedy to his achievements and deepens the mystery surrounding his tomb and its secrets. Yet, the betrayal did not end with family violence alone. Archaeologists also uncovered ancient bamboo scrolls buried in sealed chambers near the burial site, offering a disturbing glimpse into the emperor's psyche and rule. These texts read like confessions filled with tales of tyranny, purges, and political coups fought in shadows rather than on battlefields. The scrolls portray a man determined to silence his enemies by any means necessary. The documents are proof of the enormous executions of scholars and the destruction of their works. The very actions that were trying to get rid of an entire system of moral and philosophical teachings. It is said that more than 400 Confucian scholars were buried alive, and many more books that disputed the emperor's authority were burnt. This systematic extermination defines an emperor who hated knowledge more than rebellion, regarding the latter as a source of his power which he could not lose. The emperor's actions against scholars are in stark contrast to the Confucian values of wisdom, virtue, and morality, thus proving that the emperor was more concerned with power than with culture. By wiping out a 1,000-year-old intellectual history, Qin Shi Huang tried to control the discourse, making it so that only his ideas would be heard. His ruthless information management was just a part of the bigger picture, where he was trying to establish an undisputed power. Now, let's reveal how centuries of wisdom were deliberately erased to secure an empire born out of fear. Forbidden knowledge and lost wisdom. The Terracotta Army site has revealed more than weapons and warriors. It has exposed the brutal eradication of an intellectual tradition that once thrived in ancient China. The emperor's bamboo scrolls describe campaigns that targeted scholars who dared to question or criticize his legalistic regime. These men, many followers of Confucianism, stood for morality and wisdom, principles at odds with the emperor's harsh methods. His despotic purges sought to silence their voices and reshape China's cultural legacy. Qin Shi Huang's campaign against intellectuals was ruthless and comprehensive. The bamboo records indicate that hundreds of scholars were executed, over 400 of them reportedly buried alive. This horrific fate was meted out simply because these men championed ideas that contrasted with the emperor's vision. The widespread burning of books further compounded the loss, erasing hundreds of years of Chinese philosophical writings and historical records within a single reign. This assault on knowledge was not an isolated act of cruelty, but a calculated political strategy. By eliminating dissenting voices and controlling the flow of information, the emperor ensured there was no ideological opposition to his rule. The destruction of texts was an effort to centralize power not just physically but intellectually, shaping history in his own image. This fear of alternative views reveals much about the nature of his regime. The loss of these scholarly works represents a cultural devastation that still resonates today. Centuries of accumulated wisdom and literature were deliberately wiped away, sacrificed to preserve one man's authority. The magnitude of this erasure challenges the way we understand Qin Shi Huang's legacy, not simply as a visionary builder and unifier, but as a dictator who imposed silence at the price of China's intellectual heritage.
More than half a century has passed since the discovery of the terracotta warriors guarding the grave of China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, in Xi'an.
In light of these findings, the Terracotta Army's silent ranks assume a new significance. They no longer stand solely as symbols of strength or imperial unity, but also as mute witnesses to the cruelty inflicted in the name of power. Each carefully crafted face hints at unseen stories of loyalty, fear, and repression, bearing silent testimony to a past where knowledge was a battlefield. These revelations force historians and visitors alike to grapple with uncomfortable questions. How much of what we know about early Chinese civilization has been shaped by what was lost? Are these clay soldiers guarding a triumph or a tragedy? Both, it seems, coexist beneath the quiet earth. While the dark legacy of knowledge suppressed shadows the past, it also fuels our drive to uncover what still lies beneath. The tomb's unopened mysteries. Despite centuries of fascination and countless excavations across the vast Terracotta Army complex, the central tomb of Emperor Qin Shi Huang himself remains firmly sealed. This untouched chamber continues to be one of archaeology's most tantalizing mysteries, its secrets locked away beneath a massive earthen mound. For decades, experts have debated whether to open it, but caution and respect have so far prevailed, keeping the heart of the emperor's burial site hidden from the world. One of the greatest reasons for this restraint lies in the delicate nature of what might be inside. When the terracotta soldiers were initially uncovered, archaeologists were shocked to see their painted surfaces begin to flake and fade almost immediately after exposure to air. Within minutes, the vibrant colors, intact for over 2,000 years, began to vanish. This fragile state has made conservationists wary, fearing that opening the tomb could cause irreversible damage to priceless artifacts that have survived untouched for millennia. Another ominous factor comes from ancient texts describing a moat of mercury surrounding the emperor's tomb. Modern soil tests have found abnormally high levels of mercury in the area above the burial mound, lending credence to these historical accounts. Mercury is toxic and poses a serious health risk. The presence of such a toxic substance means any excavation could endanger those who enter, as well as complicate preservation efforts. This chemical barrier adds a layer of mystery and danger that modern science is still trying to fully understand. The Chinese government, supported by many archaeologists, has adopted a stance prioritizing preservation over curiosity. They maintain that the tomb is a fragile cultural time capsule, deserving extreme caution and respect. Disturbing it prematurely risks destroying a priceless chapter of human history. This patient approach reflects a deep understanding that some mysteries are best left sealed until technology can reveal them without harm. The Terracotta Army reveals not just an ancient empire, but a story of power, sacrifice, and mystery still unfolding today. Albert Lin's exploration opened a rare window into this hidden world, reminding us that history often hides darker truths beneath its grandeur. If you found this journey captivating, please like and subscribe for more stories that uncover the past's deepest secrets. Your curiosity keeps history alive.